Ahoy, mateys! 'Tis I, Captain Horatio Honeyflakes, and I be here to tell you about me newest crowdfunding campaign. The adventures continue with me crew, the Mighty Mascots, in issues 7, 8, and 9. Just focus your looking glass on the amazing artwork of Ian Warianto and Anton Bondi. Me crew, the Mighty Mascots, are up against some scurvy scallywags, and we need ye help to defeat them. There be a bounty of exclusive treasure, only available here, where X marks the spot. I spy a huge coffer of bonuses and stretch goals on the horizon. Then please consider pledging so we can continue these adventures with the weirdest crew I ever had the pleasure of sailing with. Mascots Unleashed!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Relay. I'm your host, Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots, promoter for the Plastic City Comic Con. And with me, is always, Johnny C., creator of Sartana and Surrounded by Death. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? I love the dull, sweet tones of Keith Gleason. You sound like you belong on Magic 107 point whatever that station is.
Yeah, right.
Dave Allen Boucher, eat your heart out.
I never thought I'd have a radio type voice, but maybe like a dull, like a
soft spoken, like nighttime, bedtime magic, nighttime jazz.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Very soft, soothing.
Could be that I'm already beat down by this week already. I don't know,
dude. I know, man. Like this week has been crazy. Everything for me this week has been a rush order.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy.
I don't know. It's certain conventions, right? Because we're both at Wicked Comic Con this weekend in Boston.
Highly looking forward to that show.
Yeah. It's certain shows that I feel like I gotta. There's a lot of stuff going on. We're running around doing things. Amy's putting together like these mini prints, and it's like it feels like certain shows of the year you like kind of go out of your way to make sure it's like a bigger,
it's like a good show for you. And then Wicked was good for us last year. I know we both had really good shows last time around. So
this is their second year.
Yeah, man. So we're hoping it's gonna be a good one. People are gonna show up. And the Heinz convention, the crazy promotion, crazy hype. Heinz Convention Center is awesome. It's a great venue. I remember going to the original Boston Comic Con,
right,
at Heinz Convention Center. So I'm really excited to see the way things are going. Yeah, to be back there, to see the way things are going. And I'm at I believe I'm at booth 334. So swing on by, come see me. Booth 334 this weekend if you're going to Wicked.
Okay. I will probably tweet out where we are, what booth we are at, because I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be nuts this weekend. Like tons of comic guests. And it's a comic focused show. I don't see that they have celebrities there, so that's kind of good.
That's
maybe
real
they
good.
are going that way. Like hopefully we'll see. Be nice to have another comic focused show in this area,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the only one I know of right now is called Plastic City Comic Con.
And I would say, Little Giant up in New Hampshire is pretty comic.
I've never done Little Giant, but you've always spoken pretty highly of it.
It's very comic focused. It's in a hockey rink. And then there's certain other one-dayers here and there that, seem to be comic focused as well.
I know you probably wouldn't agree, but I'm actually booked. I've officially booked for Terrificon.
Oh,
the booth is paid for.
Nice.
So me coming back this year for Terrificon in a bigger booth. We're doing 2 10x10s.
Really? You and Brian?
Me, Brian, and we're bringing in Jared Brown.
Really? And so you guys are swapping all the costs for it?
Yeah. We're kind of pooling our resources and maximizing our space, and we want to have a really cool walk-through kind of booth where you could see all of our stuff, and I'll have the cafe. It'll be cool.
That's awesome, man.
Yep,
Yeah.
and I'm applying to Baltimore as well, so we'll see if we get.
Are you going to do Baltimore?
Yeah. I got the application today. We'll see how it goes. It's not that bad. I mean, it's only $300 for Artist Alley, so
that's not bad
definitely
at
going to
all.
check. Yeah, I'm going to check it out and see what the deal
is. That
is.
2 days or 3 days?
That's a good question. I think it's 2 days, but it might be 3. It's 3 anyway, no matter what, because you'd be going early as a creator to set up anyway, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's a 3rd day for you anyway.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. I don't know what's the time, like what's the date on that show?
September, and it's the same weekend as SPX. So
you're choosing that over SPX.
Well, I got denied from SPX.
Did you really?
I wonder if it's because of all the wonderful things I had to say about the last time I was there.
Maybe.
They're like, oh, that guy, we don't want him back.
Maybe, or maybe because you were there last year, they didn't,
maybe. I mean,
I might be like, let's let another creator get in,
Last
Mike
year
does that.
Last year there were a few creators that are like, oh, I'm back again for my 5th year, last year. So there's probably some level of preferential treatment or returning guests. Maybe it's local people, you know what I mean, since it's a Maryland show. But yeah, I got the chop this time around. So
well, let me know about Baltimore, because that could, that I've been wanting to do that show myself too. So 300, that's not too bad.
Not too bad. I also got
you gonna
some of my Chicago crew, or some of the Chicago heads and people and friends from that show I do will be at Baltimore. So
are you flying down, or are you gonna drive that one?
I haven't even planned any of that out yet. I got the application today. Gonna send it in, and then we'll see where we go from there.
All right. Yeah, because that one's one I want to do. That anything you gotta travel far for, though, is always like a hassle. So
yeah,
and it's not just me. I got to pay for Amy too, and there's a lot of money to. But yeah, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I've been wanting to do that show, so one of these days, if it's not this year, maybe I'll try for next year. Definitely.
I've been saying that myself, and I think this is the year I'm gonna do it. So
nice. Yeah, maybe I'll let you take the hit, see how it is, and then maybe go back.
I will be your bulletproof vest, Keith. I will take those bullets for you, my friend.
Awesome, man. Anything else going on in your neck of the woods this week?
Let's see. So I am now one step closer to officially, fully fulfilling the Kickstarter campaign from 2 freaking years ago.
Oh, really? So you got that? What was it? The final thing you needed? Like, so you were trying to finish the story, right?
2.
Johnny? I mean, I guess if he's frozen, it's good that he's like frozen like this. He's giving the peace sign to everybody. Johnny, what's going on here? Well, why Johnny is incapacitated here, let me share this real quick. Johnny peaced out. Someone said in the audience. All right, let me so Mighty Mascots still in demand. We got some boost, get some pledges this week. We are $2 away from 8,000, which is crazy. So we're almost there, so I'm hoping we'll be there by the time we fulfill, or if not more. I mentioned in the last show that the figures have been delayed, so we probably aren't going to have those till late summer, fall. So hopefully that will happen. And then also the book's
was like, will this guy shut up already? And booted me out. But
he froze like you going like this, so Amy was like, you peaced out.
I peaced out. We're so close to 8K in the campaign, huh?
Dude, $2, and I'll be at 8K. I got a boost this week from somebody, so it's really nice. And someone's been messaging me about back in the digital tier, but I don't know if they did it yet. So that one's coming, so
yeah.
But yeah, dude, what happened? Do you know?
I don't know. StreamYard said something went wrong, and I had to log back in again. So
weird.
Who knows?
Well, if it happens again, we'll just,
if it happens again, I'm gonna jump to the backup on my cell phone.
Okay. So far, but it might be just something StreamYard because you were fine up into that point.
Yeah, so I don't know. My system's pretty old too. I'm due for a new laptop or something soon. Gotcha. I'm due for a new everything, Keith.
Yeah. So for tonight's guest, so three guests that haven't been on our show before. The two guys that have the Tales of Nihilism reached out to me by email, and then Aaron from Immortal Rising. I did his show a while ago when I was, in campaign full swing, so I got to meet him that way. And I told him that he should come on our show whenever he had something to promote. Yeah. So he's here, so that's
nice.
Great.
Nice. Well, yeah, I haven't heard of any of the creators that are our guests tonight, so I'm really looking forward to learning a little bit about them and their projects that they're bringing to the table tonight.
Yeah. Same here. So I guess, we've been yapping for a little while. We should probably bring in the guest. Huh?
Yes, absolutely. 3 guests. That's a lot of time.
I know we're all pressed for time with this week with the convention coming up.
I know. There's so much going on.
I
got so many books to bag and board.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
I got coffee bags to label. I was going to have the sauce, the hot sauce for the show. It's delayed. So I'm going to have it for San Diego and for Terrificon. But unfortunately, it's going to be delayed for, and I won't have it for Wicked.
You won't even have a couple bottles?
I can have my personal bottles, but I don't know if that's really conducive to bring for sampling or anything like that, especially when there's only a quarter of it left because I've been consuming my own supply.
Oh, okay.
It's really good sauce. I hate to toot my own horn, but I made a really good sauce with Jeff.
That's awesome, man. I wish I was into hot sauce.
It's all good, dude. But yeah,
Amy might be. I'll have to ask her.
Well, you guys are going to get a bottle anyway.
Okay.
Maybe
even if I just have it on the shelf.
Driveway.
There you go. That's awesome. Actually, before we bring in the guests, let's just say real hello to everybody real quick. Got my wife here in the chat. Aragmar Virillion, hail the Iron Age. How's it going? Thanks for joining us.
How's it going?
Immortal's in here, who's also backstage. My wife says you can leave me at home, which is, it must be about the Baltimore thing.
Okay.
Johnny pieced out.
Yep, I did.
Harry's with us tonight. He said the same thing. Johnny pieced out. Roger's with us.
Roger. Yes, Johnny, I can hear you.
Hear me?
I can. Yeah, that's a Tommy quote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We got Red Dress Press. Hail all. Thanks for joining us. And we're bringing a lot of. Let me see.
We're bringing a lot of books to the table. Nice.
And Amy said she's allergic to raspberries. So.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
so she
no.
Can't have your sauce.
That's okay. Like I said, it works good as a paint thinner.
Awesome. But all right. Well, without further ado, let's bring in tonight's
Let's do this thing.
Let's first start with Aaron from Immortal Rising. Aaron, thanks for joining us.
Hail nerds.
Yeah,
what's
hail
up?
Nerds. And then we also got Stephen Russell with us. Stephen, what's up? Thank you.
Hey, how's it going?
And then we also got Joseph Miles Pittman. Did I say that right?
Yes, and good evening, you boys.
Good evening.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. So the one question I always start off with all our guests on the show is I love to learn origins of like how a creator went from reading comics to making comics, essentially. Like, was there like something in your past that put you on the path to wanting to become a creator? Is there something you guys can point to? And we'll go around the room. I'll probably start with Aaron, since you're on the top there.
All right.
Is there something you can point to, like a comic, TV show, movie, something that kind of put you on this path?
Any inspiration?
I'll give me 1 second. I'll get to your question. I just wanted to explain Ragmar's comments in the chat there. So Ragmar is talking about the Iron Age. It's another community. It's a lot of pulp writers or sci-fi fantasy novels.
Oh, okay.
And it's similar to how like Comicsgate is indie and all that stuff. Well, Iron Age is indie, all of that as well. And they're kind of merging. So
oh, interesting.
Yep, and so that's probably why Ragmar has followed my channel to here. I'm simulcasting that, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. I meant to say that to everybody if they had a YouTube channel. I forgot that StreamYard added that, so that was always like a nice
Well, I
feature.
don't have a lot of subs. I just broke 200, but like, I want everybody to know, what I'm doing and stuff like that.
Of course. Yeah.
They
definitely
might not even know of this channel. So it's like, if they see me on it, maybe they'll be like, oh, cool. Like, for instance, a Ragmar.
Yeah. Cross-pollination is a good thing, So,
yeah, exactly. It's a beautiful Venn diagram. So,
yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So, I started out in comics, early 90s. Like, I would say X-Force number 4, with Rob Liefeld.
Okay.
It was one of my like first comics. The whole Jim Lee launch, all that stuff.
Oh man, that was like the best time for comics too.
Dude.
Like,
yeah.
90s, like late 80s, early 90s. That was like the thing,
That whole Wrecking Crew, that what they call the Rogues Gallery of artists back then, really, set the tone for the decade. And in my opinion, really changed like the face of comics, like the look of it in general, like just the graphic design and everything. So like Mark Silvestri, come on.
Oh yeah, they kind of booted like comics into the next level, definitely.
Yeah,
hands down. That was like I remember being in high school at that time when all those books were first hitting, and I was like, man, how did like it just I felt cool because it was like I was reading comics at the time when I thought comics were the coolest, like
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just discovering all this stuff like Watchmen and like Dark Knight Returns.
Well, see, I didn't get into the more mature stuff, like all of that. I didn't hit that until my 20s. I had a couple of buddies who were big into comics, and they had a bunch of those graphic novels. And so, like, I got my course on Watchmen. Became an Alan Moore fan with that and V for Vendetta and the 300 and Elektra, Sin City, all the Frank Miller classics, So of course, Dark Knight, what was it? Dark Knight Returns, is that what it was?
Yeah.
All those, Transmetropolitan, just stuff like that. And it just took me a while. But originally, it was like, in my teens, it was like Spawn and Incredible Hulk. Was it Peter David? And,
McFarlane.
And
that was great.
I remember Maximum Carnage. So and I fell in love with comics, I guess, early, around 11, 12 kind of stuff. But I didn't think I'd be getting into comics. Like, I wasn't really into comics. I haven't like picked up a mainstream comic in a while. But how I got into making one was, the story that I'm creating, or that I've created, is based on my tabletop game, right? So, it's like it's been going on for forever, and so I'm like, what I need to do is I need to start actually making a timeline and keeping notes, and that's after 15 years, I don't know, 20 years, whatever it was, and so I'm filling out this actual formal timeline. I'm like, okay, I remember this happening, and I'm like, getting ideas and all this stuff from all the players over the years. And anyways, I was filling it out. Well, then as I'm writing it turned into like I'm writing an event. That event slowly turned into like a description of a scene, and then that turned into dialogue, right? And I was just like, oh my god, this thing's like it's becoming its own thing. And I was like, well, damn it, now I got to do it, right?
Yeah, right. You build too much lore.
Yeah, exactly.
You've gone too far. There's no turning back.
There's no turning back now. So originally I'm like, should I do a fantasy novel? It's like I'm looking at the market and I'm thinking about the time it would take to write a novel and write good prose, so and I'm originally, I guess it wasn't really that I wanted to share it with a lot of people, like the market, I guess. It was more for like friends and family and stuff. And I thought, well, they're probably not going to read my novel, so how about and one of the things that immediately attracted me to fantasy in general was the art, right? Like flipping through D&D monster manuals and players handbooks.
Dungeons and Dragons always had like the best artwork. I mean,
the best, exactly. Really got me into, look at like was it Jeff Easley and Clyde Caldwell?
Yep.
And anyways, so I'm like, let me see what it would take to make a comic book. And so yeah, that's what I got into it, and boom, I guess it's 5 years now later.
Yeah.
It's finally ready. And I over that time I decided to make it for other people as well. It was like I was having so much fun creating and bouncing ideas off of artists and stuff like this, and creating the story with my editor and all that. And yeah, I'm like, let me do it for real. So
yeah, that's awesome. And we'll come back to that in a second. And I want to hear Joe and Steven, like, or we'll start with Joe. Like, Joe, same question. Like, is there like something you can point to in your past that put you on the path to wanting to make comics?
I mean, it's like my entire life basically has been a very slow turn towards it. Like,
okay,
when I was a kid, we didn't have a comic shop in my town, so I didn't know where to get them. You know, I was just watching cartoons and playing games and stuff. You know, it wasn't until college that we had a comic book making class, and I had read plenty of.
Oh, really? So you never? This is fascinating. So you never read a comic until this class, or
I had read a few comics here and there, but
okay.
no, I never entered a store before. Like I was in college, and
oh wow,
I was walking distance from downtown. They had a shop in there, so I just walk from campus to downtown. I get classes on Wednesday specifically just for new books, and it's like,
oh wow,
taking that class, and like that was the first time I had like purchased the supplementary material just to learn even more. Like the Scott McCloud books was like, this is incredible. Like you can do whatever you want so quickly. You know, the craziest ideas, just put it on the page, and this is how you do it. Wow.
Right. Yeah. Like when you realize that power, like it's, you know, it's amazing. Like, and those Scott McCloud books are really cool. Like it looks at comics in such a unique way, which is, you know, really, really cool stuff. Recommend it out for everybody out there if you haven't.
It's good to have the multiple perspectives. I'm a firm believer that when you make comics, you need to forge your own way, forge your own path, do your own style. Like it's, you know, we all have our own sandbox. We all play in it differently. You know, some people kind of follow a formula. Some people have their own rituals, this and that, but it's good to understand the other perspectives, know the rules so you can break them, kind of thing, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And so Joe, was there a comic that you read that like, hey, I want to do this? Or was it just that you learned it from that class and then wanted to keep going with it? Or
I know that like the first time I got serious into it, like, I mean, it was definitely like just the whole percolating idea. But like when I was in the shop looking at the back issues, I found Spider-Girl #7.
Okay.
And that was the one where she's like smoldering on the cover, and like the villain's like with the microphone, ladies and gentlemen, the defeat of Spider-Girl. And like he was like sunglasses, like a brown jacket, blue neon suit. It's like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. What happened to her, man? I have all like 142 issues of Spider-Girl now, man.
Is that the Tom DeFalco run?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. He's got a new book on, I just saw coming out in a couple months. I think he crowdfunded it with Sal Buscema and someone else, Ron Friends.
Yeah,
called
Ron
like the
Friends advertising it.
Right project or something like that. It looks really cool. I ordered it, so I'm curious because I did like his writing. I like those old school Marvel guys, so I'll definitely check that one out. So Spider-Girl, huh? That's a good one. That was kind of unheard of at the time, like a book like that running for so long.
Yeah.
You know, so it was interesting. How about you, Steve? Like, is there same question? What's your origin?
So I guess the origin would be like the very first piece of media I remember consuming is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like that's the very first thing I remember watching.
Right on.
Yeah. And I mean, I was born, raised, and bred on all this stuff. I had like a huge, crazy religious upbringing. I was in like a fundamentalist Pentecostal home. Okay. So a lot of my media and things were like really curtailed, and always watched. But I also, there was this other side of the house. There is like, you can't watch this kind of stuff, but you can watch these crazy stories. Like I remember watching the old George Reeves Superman and Batman and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was always like, okay, this comics world is no holds bar. You can get into this and do whatever you want, and you can consume as much of it as you want. And I think it's just because like my parents and like religious people don't really, you know, watch or care about what's going on and that kind of stuff. It's just like, that's comics, you know, throw him an Archie comic here, throw him, go to the comic store, go grab this, you know. Like,
here's some Bazooka Joe.
Yeah. It's they all think it's like Archie and like innocent stuff like that. But if they saw an issue of Preacher, they would lose their shit, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I have a funny story about Preacher and people. I'll quick tangent. I was working for a major corporation in Massachusetts. I was on my work break and I had just discovered Preacher.
Okay.
I was kind of late to the game on Preacher. I knew of it, never actually read it. So I was like eating up each volume as I was getting it. Yeah. And I remember falling asleep in the break room reading Preacher. And I fell asleep with the book open. And it was the Odin Kincannon stuff with all the Nazi imagery and things like that. God. And I got pulled into HR because they thought I was like, you know, I had some Nazi propaganda or something. I was like, no. It's a comic book. It's satire. Like, it's a farce.
Oh my god!
Quick tangent. Sorry to sidestep.
Were you able to get out of it, or
No, they understood. They're like, oh, okay. Like, I just think that people saw things that they didn't like, and they just had to act on it. Which I agree. Like, you know, you should do that, but it's like, you know, at least they had the perspective to understand. I was just reading a comic book. It wasn't, you know, dangerous material. It wasn't going to set the building on fire.
That story if you see him at Terrificon this year.
You know, I'm going to have to. I met him once before, and I was more concerned with showing him my Steve Dillon Punisher tattoo. Yeah, but I've got to tell him that story next time.
Yeah, you have to. I bet he'll love that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's great. But I do remember that time. Like, I feel like comics has shifted from that period where you could like be like reading some of the most horrendous like X-rated level kind of stuff without everybody not really knowing. But nowadays I feel like comics is so mainstream that, you know, that a parent would probably look at the book now, you know, versus back then, you know, so which is kind of funny. So Steve, was it mostly Turtles that kind of put you there?
Well, like, no, it's kind of like I had like a sort of similar deal where I'm like, you know, my parents are letting me go in these comic stores and pick up comics and stuff, and they're not paying attention. And then I get my hands on like, you know, a Watchmen comic at like 13. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you know, picking up heavy metal magazines and all this other kind of stuff.
I was just sorry, Steven. I was just going to say real quick. And, you know, after Aaron had mentioned it too, it's like you're a kid reading comics. And then when you discover like Frank Miller and Alan Moore, it's like getting keys to the Lamborghini. Yeah. It changes everything.
It is. It does. Suddenly you're just like, wait a minute. Holy crap, these kind of stories are in here? Like, this is not, we're not talking about like the heroes just coming out and, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's deep stuff. And then, you know, alongside that, I'm like watching Dragon Ball Z, and I think that's like the first time I saw the main hero die, you know,
yeah.
You know, killed first deal there. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know, let's start going down this like area of Shangri-La, and, you know, and nobody's going to
difference. Like when you said you grew up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the cartoons, I'm assuming we all did. Yeah. But when you see the cartoons and then you see the Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird stories and how violent and like adult they were, it kind of blows your mind a little bit, you know. And you're like, it feels like to me back then, comics felt like your R-rated movie, like, you know, that you could watch. Like,
punk. It was very underground and punk, and, you know, slasher horror movie kind of. Yeah, like very easily.
There's
Yeah,
something
like, felt like a
dangerous
rebel,
feeling about
like-
it.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a rebel kind of attitude towards
For
reading
real.
that stuff, and
Mhm.
no one around you knows, like, you know what I mean? It was like kind of like it felt like you were in on a secret club or some sort.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
will say one of the main attractions for me, being a 13-year-old boy, to comics was when, like, Emma Frost would wear lingerie. I really like that kind of stuff. That was really nice.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
also appreciated anything that, like, Rogue was in, or
Storm.
Yeah.
Psylocke's outfit.
Everything was
really nice.
skin tight, skin.
Oh
yeah.
God, yeah.
Yeah, all like Gen 13. That was
That
all
was like
just
the
like
early
bathing
everything
suits.
for the
2000
image.
era. Like
Yeah.
everything was like a bad girl comic. You remember that period?
Oh
Yeah.
no! Like
Yeah.
the first time I got a hold of a heavy metal magazine, and I was just like,
Dude.
"Oh, whoa!"
Right,
What
right.
is
Yeah.
this? Yeah.
Yeah, there was constantly like fantasy warrior women, with like no clothes on,
Yeah.
and like, it was
Well,
fucking
when they announced that they
awesome.
were going to make a Witchblade TV series, I'm like, they are? I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, how much clothes is she actually going to be wearing?
Yeah.
And it was so disappointment when you saw
so
what they
different
made.
from so
Yeah,
different from
like
what the,
it's so sad how accurate that South Park episode where they did the whole heavy metal, deal. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
accurate.
That's right.
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
great.
it hits all those notes like right on the nose. You're like, yep, that's how it is.
Yeah, I inherited, like, I kind of like, almost like pornography. I inherited my first heavy metal magazines, and it was like, I'm like, wow, it's fine art in my
Mhm.
opinion, and
Yeah.
beyond like the sexuality and all other stuff, and the crazy stories. It was just, it's like, this is what high art is, and that was so cool. It was, I knew.
Yeah,
what
I
had
remember
when I
buying
was
a
looking at it.
couple, like, and I was just like, wow, like it was comics, but it was like, it was crazy different from anything else
Yeah.
coming out. You know what I mean?
It-
Like,
It was the Eddie Munsons of that era that would,
honestly, yeah, definitely.
listen to Metallica, play D&D, like
Yeah.
read heavy metal,
right?
Yeah.
that kind of thing. You know
Just
what I
the
mean?
name heavy metal, like, just like it kind of
Yeah.
puts in your mind like what kind of book you're gonna just start paging through.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
then there was
And
a
I
lot of
mean-
French artists that rolled over, right? Metal
Yeah,
Hurlant.
Mobius, right?
Yep,
Came
yep.
from there. A lot of those guys. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that stuff's good. I wish I had read more of it though. That's that one thing. Like I only had a few issues here and there, but I never, never consistently followed it. That's one something to go back to, I think, one of these days, try to
Yeah.
collect some old ones and that kind of thing.
And like to put it in perspective, like it was funny. I had all of those kind of comics and magazines, but my parents only like gave a shit about the when I started collecting Magic the Gathering cards.
Oh,
I wasn't-
really? Like they
and I-
took a stand on that?
Oh yeah, and like I didn't even want to play the game. I didn't care about the game. I just loved the art, and I wanted to recreate all the scenes I'm seeing on the cards. I'm trying to practice and do that.
Right. And your mother's like, Steven, you're doing
That's
black
magic."
magic
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah,
Right? Is that
My
what
folks thought,
pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah. Is it really?
my folks thought Magic the Gathering was gambling. They thought it was a form of gambling.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They're like, I don't want you gambling with those cards. I'm like, what?
Roger has a great comment here. The term heavy
The
metal
guy knows
for the
everything. What has he
magazine
got?
had nothing to do with the music. That term stuck to the music some years later. Oh, interesting. I never knew that. And Lily Field says heavy metal was awesome. Harry says, what about the first episode of Thundercats? They weren't wearing
yeah.
anything. You could see all of the Chitara spots.
So provocative.
So provocative.
They
but
got
that
a lot-
goes back
they got
to the
away with a
point.
lot.
What'd you say, Steve?
They got away with a lot in early,
They
childhood
did.
TV.
They did. But that goes back to like we all grew up at the best time, I think. We had the best stuff, and I would hate to be growing up now. Like there's no cartoons, the comics.
Well, but
suck,
like
know?
that first Thundercats, like they weren't trying to sexualize it, like they were just cats. Was the idea.
right.
Now whether or not like us as young boys, liked it or not, that's a whole other thing. So I don't think but today I wouldn't trust them to not purposely be sexualizing it.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that's to me that's the difference.
Yeah, I think back then it was a little more innocent. It was more about like,
I guess so,
let's
yeah.
get these toys into the kids' hands, you know,
Yeah.
rather than it was a different kind of like scumminess, I guess.
Well, they had like a variation. Like Thundercats was Silverhawks was Tiger Sharks. You know what I mean? It was the same thing retold 3 different ways, you know?
Yeah,
It would
but
be awesome
you
if
also
someone bought the rights to all 3 of those properties and did like this massive crossover. Be freaking so cool. You know,
I can't confirm it, but I think somebody mentioned that Silverhawks show up in the Thundercats remake, maybe, or there's a reference to it. Or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
That would be fun to have.
Yeah, really fun. And you could almost do like a land, air, and space kind of thing, you know?
Right.
All of those properties. That would be kind
Can
of
you imagine
fun.
3 movies that form a trilogy? That's those 3 properties. That would be great. Take my money now.
Yeah, right. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah. So no, we know, Aaron. You just said you started making comics. Like you started putting your comic together like 5 years ago. You said.
Yeah, roughly. Yep.
How about you guys, Joe and Steve? When did you guys start making comics together?
We've actually been we've known each other for like a year and a half, I think, but we've like been publishing for the past half a year.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah. How did you guys meet?
It was actually back when I was just like, okay, I'm a writer. I'm only doing like lore and story and dialogue. It's like I need someone to draw. So I just like throw out an open letter, just like, hey, people online, like different groups and everything, who wants to draw, who wants to just like collaborate. And so many people are like, hey, man, will you pay my bills for me? It's like, no, I can't pay my bills. But Russell here, he was the one being like, I just want to fucking make something, man. Get out of my way.
Awesome.
Right.
Sometimes that's what it's about, right? Like,
It's a
you
good
know, it's
spirit
not
to
even
have.
really the money. It's just like, let's get together, let's do something, you know?
Mhm.
You know?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So so you guys, I thought you guys knew each other for a while. So it sounds like you just met online and just became a creative team. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah.
If
Awesome.
you don't mind me prying, what's the terms of your partnership working relationship? Is it like a 50-50 collaboration? Is it post creation sale? Like how you guys, if you don't mind me prying, how'd you guys work out your deal?
Let's talk business.
Yeah.
I mean, like we were artists. We're both artists. It was just like, hey, Joe, what, you want to do 50-50? Sure.
Oh, that's
And
simple,
we're
huh?
like, okay, I'll do this one and you do
There
that
you go.
thing. And it's just like,
Hey, man, if it works, you know, the spit on the hand and handshake thing sometimes is, you know, like
Yeah.
a deal, you know, it
Well,
depends on the people, like, you know.
We definitely don't have like I guess a lot of the other issues that people have. Like there's no like fight over, you know, merch or property or, you know, like I don't own like a vast, you know, section of some industry, you know, like anything.
Right,
So
right.
it's like, hey man, we're making this and we're both putting, you know, ourselves into it. So 50-50, man, you know.
You guys
and
are on the
like,
same page. That's
Yeah.
great. It's great when you can find a partner that can do that, you know, and you're not both doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
You know, I've had my fair share of that in the past.
yeah, like I used to do some webisodes back in the day with 4 guys, and whenever costs came up, because we all kind of was in it together, but we would all share the burden, like, you know, we would all pay our share into it, and that's how
Yeah.
we kind of did things. And then if there was any money, we kind of just put it back in the business, and, you know, for going to shows and things like that or whatever. It worked good for a while, you know, and then everyone kind of split off, did their own thing. And then, you know, comics is a whole other thing. Like, you know,
Yeah.
depends what you do. Like, because with my artists, it's more of a work for hire thing. Like I hire them
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I pay them, you know, a page rate, and then that's it. And if anything happens with the IP, it's all mine basically, you know?
Mhm.
So it's not like I'm forming a partnership, but some people do that, you know? So it depends on the kind of book you're making, that kind of thing, you know? So,
Oh yeah.
you know, so, but yeah, so I'd love to hear about all the projects here. So, I don't know, like, Aaron, why don't you tell us a
Yeah,
little
let's
bit
start
how
there.
Immortal Rising came about? Like you said, you were building. So, what?
Yeah.
So you said it was a game you were making, like an RPG.
Well, it was just our regular homebrew world, and this.
What do you mean by that? Was it like were you making this with somebody else, or?
So all it is okay. It's a game of D&D that has lasted 30 years, basically.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, and so all that story and homebrew kind of lore and all that stuff.
So did you make up this
I'm using
adventure?
all that. What's
did
that?
you make up this adventure for the
I
D&D?
was the DM of this adventure, yes.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah,
so you
and
took
the,
the idea and kind of morphed it into its own thing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, well, and I asked my players. One was family member, and then some longtime players. Now, at the time, they were just kind of starting out. But, anyways, I was like, so where should I start a comic? Based on our world and all this stuff. And they're like, they picked out this specific moment, and I was like, that makes complete sense. So. That's what I did, because it was really high stakes, high drama, and an introduction to a lot of things, like new things that we were trying in the game. So it made a perfect jumping off point for a story as well.
Oh, wow. So when did this game of D&D start? Like what year?
All right. So, well, the game that the book is based on was roughly 15 years ago.
Okay.
30 years.
Yeah.
Have you reached back though? Yes. Yeah. Well, one of the entendre, I think that's the word, of the name Immortal Rising is like, when you play a tabletop game, sometimes you can, as a first level character, rising up, you can become an immortal, throughout your actions and all that stuff. So that's one of the plays
that's where the name comes from. Okay.
Well, yeah, and a little bit extra, but yeah, that's a part of it. So I kind of wanted to pick something that reflected that aspect of where it came from. So,
gotcha. Like the title kind of in my mind conjures up like images of like Highlander or something like that.
Sure, yeah,
something like that. I could see that. So that's cool that it started off as a game of D&D and then it kind of morphed into this own thing, which is really, really awesome. That was one game I know I've played D&D at least once or twice, but I don't think I've ever played longer than, I want to say, like 4 hours or so. Like I think like I either was killed immediately and then just never never got into it after that, or like I had friends that always wanted to play, but they had more fun making the characters than actually playing, so it was like one of those kind of situations.
Well, and it's not like I played, constantly or consistently even for 30 years. It'd be like a couple years go by without ever doing anything. But whenever we would play, it would come back to this universe,
Oh,
so
really? Interesting.
Yeah. So it was like the story constantly was progressing, over time. So that was pretty fun. And then actually a lot of the original players, life happens, people kind of drift apart and all that other stuff. And then new players come in, and now I'm playing. Thankfully, I'm playing with a pretty consistent table. I've been with these guys for probably 10 years or so now. Well, wow. I mean, two of them are still playing that are they were characters in the story that I made a comic for. So
oh wow, that's awesome. Like I know it's made like kind of a resurgence again in the last like
it has
few years,
which I'm happy to see. I'm glad to see fantasy, because like in my opinion, a lot of the comic book stuff is kind of faltering with a lot of DC, the DC movies dropping the ball. The mainstream comics kind of sucking, like the art is not very good. They're very preachy, like wall of text of ideology or something.
Oh yeah.
Terrible coloring and just character design. Like there's a lot of like you could probably rip it apart.
Everything on my checklist, man.
yeah, right.
MCU, it's like, what is going on in Phase 4? I don't know, and I don't really care. It's not very interesting. So I
saw like they don't have an Avengers movie until like this at all. It's like this Phase 4 is doomed from the start.
I've kind of been gauging all that on my kids' response, right? Like I've got a 12 and a 7-year-old, and one that's older, but the ones that really care about any of this, like they're not into the MCU at all. Like nobody wanted to go see Ant-Man, so I'm like, and we did go see the what was it? The Doctor Strange one. We did see that one in the theater. So
Yeah.
I'm a big Doctor Strange fan. So, but they wanted to go see it too. So, and it was all right. I didn't hate it. You know, I could take it apart, and I didn't like that or that, but overall, it was fun. It felt very much like a Sam Raimi movie. So that was cool.
But, I feel like if we're going this tangent for a minute about the Phase 4 stuff, it just feels very unfocused, you know? Very like they don't know what to do.
They don't have like in-game was their in-game.
That's what that's why I said they should have stopped there for a while. Yeah. Took a couple of years off and then maybe come back with something like it just felt like a great ending to the whole thing at Endgame, you know?
Yeah.
They've even openly announced that they're going to have to like pause, and space things out even more. And
because they're just churning it out and there's no quality there. Like it's just, they need to you need to take a step back and go look at why the other ones worked,
Yeah.
Why there's ones
man. Like
what's
Aaron,
that?
you mentioned like your kids, not liking the MCU. It's like, what are like the teenagers of the present day going to be rebelling against? When like this is the fucking current state of the MCU.
It's funny though, because it's like a lot of the guests that we have on the show, one of their introductions to comics were through like Batman the Animated Series or X-Men or Spider-Man from the 90s, like all these awesome animated shows that took the source material very seriously and presented it so a new audience could jump aboard. That's how a lot of people who are making indie comics and reading comics nowadays, that's how they did get aboard. And I feel like the next generation doesn't necessarily have that in our current state of comic adaptions.
So either like for instance, my 7-year-old, he doesn't really have a franchise he really is like glommed onto like I did. Like I was big into G.I. Joe or
right
Turtles
we don't have that. We don't have.
And he's not really like that at all. He just kind of does his own thing. And
I think like a lot of it.
I'll watch old G.I. Joe on YouTube. They've got channels with old episodes of G.I. Joe. So we'll sit there and we'll plow through like 3 or 4 episodes or something. But like he doesn't try playing G.I. Joe, like I did.
Right. And even if he did, like it was in the figures like $20 now for a figure.
Right.
When it used to be like what, $2-3 when we
were
that age.
Like at KB they were like $2 or $3.
Yeah.
And then like the other store it was like 4 or 5. And now
I think that's part $10. Of it too. Like I know people complain like the reason that a lot of those shows went away is because they didn't want to have the toy tie-ins, or that was like a big thing with parents and stuff. But like at the same time, it's like how we kind of engaged with the cartoon. It was like you watched the cartoon, then you had the toys there. Yeah. And you kind of lived it after the cartoon was over,
Yeah.
I feel like that stuff is kind of missing now, for kids.
I will say the new He-Man toys are amazing. It's like if G.I. Joe and He-Man had a baby, because all the posable, like the wrist joint, the elbow, like it is nice. I was able to, because they're expensive as hell, but I was able to get a affordable version or toy of He-Man and Skeletor. And Battle Cat for my son, and I was just checking them out for myself as well, and like just the bendable joints, and so they are high quality. With at least that version was, but like He-Man and Skeletor were like maybe $15 or $10 a piece. Sorry, my cat. And,
they were affordable. That's where keyboard cat's been hiding.
But like all the other characters were $5-10 more than He-Man and Skeletor. I'm like, I'm not gonna be paying $25 for an extra character,
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And
I mean,
go ahead.
Oh, I was about to say, to me, it's about instant commodification and entertainment gratification, like just all over it. All these stories immediately begin to like just nosedive and bomb as soon as you get you know, some sort of like commodification out of it, and you've got to slap it together and instantly like create these hits over and over again and feed this machine, which you can't do. The reason like Batman the animated series worked, you know, coming out is because during this time period, you know, it's the same idea. This is just cartoons. This is just, you know, comics. So nobody really cares. And these writers, these artists, these entertainers, they had free reign to do whatever they wanted. There's nothing to stop you. You know, it's like, just don't make it R-rated, you know, so we got to take something down. But, you know, let's go into some stories here. Let's discuss why Mr. Freeze is a bad guy. Let's see why the Joker, you know, does what he does. And some more, you know, interesting ideas with Batman. Like, is he really, you know, just this good guy, or is he as crazy as the guys he's, you know, beating up every day?
Yeah, exactly. It's that philosophy in the story. Like, for instance, when they did the remake of Cowboy Bebop on Netflix, I was like, I didn't hate it. I thought some of their changes were not good, but overall, I'm trying to get into this because I love the anime, right? Yeah. I'm like, there's something not right, and I don't know how to explain it. And my buddy was like, because they took the philosophy out.
Yep.
I was like, oh, that's what it is. They just made a generic story. There's no philosophy behind it. Whereas in the story, you know, or in the anime, you know, there was a lot of reflection and just kind of thinking about ideologies and philosophies and stuff like that. And that was not in the Netflix at all. And I was like, that's exactly what it is.
And I missed like the point of why something works. You see that a lot with
and it's the same with DC with their comics. You know, the best, absolutely most artistic, stunning run that they had. And I'm sorry, I forget the female editor's name, but the one who was in charge of, you know, the Sandman, the Watchmen.
Oh,
you know,
I know who you're talking about. I forget her name too, but
but she, you know, she was the one who's like, you know what, we're going to take a chance. Everybody's trying to reboot Flash and Superman and do all these other crazy things. You guys over here are doing these dark, artistic, you know, philosophical, entertaining type things. Let's get into this and let you guys run wild. And it was the same deal. DC was like, nobody's gonna get into that, nobody's gonna buy that. No, those are like their children, you know.
Yeah, the Vertigo stuff was amazing, you know. Yeah, definitely.
That's right.
I mean, children need to be exposed to philosophy. That's how they learn how to think.
Well, your story needs to have substance and something people can relate to. So
100.
When you just churn crap out like, you know, Disney and Star Wars and MCU stuff lately,
no soul.
No soul, exactly. And that's why it feels like hollow.
Han Solo, stupid movie. I don't need to see a Han Solo movie. I know exactly who that character is. There's so many spin-offs on, you know, different types of characters in other movies that exist just because Han Solo existed. And
right.
And then they took it all back in number 7 and made him a deadbeat dad. I was like, are you serious? So his growth over the first 3 movies meant nothing.
The other thing that's utterly fascinating about Disney too is they have something, you know, they have something that's kind of a hit, like Mandalorian, and now because it's a hit, they're like, we got to ruin it, you know. And
we got to ruin it.
Season 3, I don't know if you guys are watching it, but it's
no,
they just like they gutted what that show was.
They lost a little of the magic. I think that was.
Oh my god, when they make Mando like a tourist in his own show, I'm like, what are they doing? Like,
terrible. No, I dropped out. I tried watching Andor. I got to halfway through the second episode, and I couldn't go any farther. I'm like, I'm bored to tears. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah, and, like I heard like people. I haven't watched Andor.
I enjoyed Andor actually.
Oh, you did? See, I've heard mixed things. Like
I know it's slow and stuff, but I enjoyed it. Like I liked it for what they were trying to do.
My biggest point of contention with it, like I wasn't gonna watch it because, gun to my head, I couldn't even tell you who Andor was, and I saw Rogue One, and I'm like, who is that guy again? Like, I don't even remember. Like, so I was.
Yeah.
That's the reason I didn't watch it. I was like, why am I
Like-
gonna watch a show about somebody I didn't even remember from that movie? You know,
It's really good for world building if you want to find out
Mhm.
more about like Star Wars politics and how things work in the universe.
What
It's
prison
really
life
good
is
for
like
that.
in Star
Yeah.
Wars. It was like
Yeah.
Oz for Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
okay.
But
Yeah.
speaking about Star Wars and this topic here, like it's the same idea. You take the friggin' Empire Strikes Back. Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. No, I am your father. That scene, that just blew. It's one of the greatest, cinema scenes of all time.
Oh yeah.
You can't recreate that and then package it and slap it out there and just doom, 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 doom. Like that takes time, effort, artists, writers, people,
Yeah. Oh
working,
yeah. Like measured approach to it. Like time to develop the script, time to make the movie.
Yeah.
Not
like
like
nobody
not
was
having the
seeing it.
next episode ready for when this previous show ends. Like
Yeah.
that's what Disney's doing. Like it's an assembly line. Like you've
And-
got to
and
have
we
the
grew
next thing.
And we
What's
grew
that?
up in that era. We grew up like that where, think about it. Like, I still remember having to physically go up and change the knobs on my grandma's TV, where you got like 10 channels. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
it.
We had that little dial thing that used to turn the antenna.
Yeah.
You would turn it and it would be like yeah.
Yeah. So,
So I remember that. I remember those
You're
days.
forced to use your imagination. You're
You
forced to get in
are,
your head.
yeah. We grew up at the best time, I think. And
Yeah. It's not like
We're starting to
sit down
date
and
ourselves and sound like a bunch of old
big
fogies.
we do, but I
Well,
just
I wanted to point this out though. Lily Field says they are just ruining it in order to make a point that should be made elsewhere. Heroes are there for us to strive for an ideal. They don't do that. They don't get that. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
They don't get it.
that's
Like,
they don't
they
get
don't
that
understand
substance.
the
Like
point
it's
of a hero.
substance. Yeah, exactly.
I
Like,
think they blend their heroes and their anti-hero themes a little bit too much sometimes.
Well,
So
their
like
ideology
Mando
revolution
doesn't mind.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, like he's noble and he's taking care of a kid, but he doesn't mind shooting people down. It's like, a little bit of lone wolf and cub, but that doesn't fully translate. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
some people don't fully get that. And like you watch old westerns and it's the same thing. Like a lot of what I think the appeal of Mandalorian is that at the time it felt like a Star Wars version of Gunsmoke because it was Western. It was like a Western.
Yep.
It was Western themes, but it was taking place in the Star Wars universe that we love.
Yeah.
Like a
That
man with
was-
no name type
yeah,
feel to it.
Going
absolutely.
back to what inspired Star Wars in the first place.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Good old cantina.
And then they had that going for 2 seasons, and now this 3rd season, I don't know what the hell they're thinking. Like it just it's a total antithesis to what it was. You know what I mean? Like
I think they're trying to service the fans of the animated series stuff that was in
yeah,
between.
but
And
I almost feel like what they're doing this season could have been its own show and left Mando out of it. And
yeah,
like,
Well, I
like,
mean,
you know what I
the-
mean? Like
the huge like whole problem with the entire thing is, you had the director of the last 3 Star Wars movies. He's the one who came out and said it. It was like we had no source material to work from, and you're talking like. I grew up in this time and people before me with all this like legends, continuity and books and stuff. And people had like poured their heart and soul into making a Star Wars universe. And as soon as it got like, bought out and everything, they were like, take all that, wipe the page. Nothing exists now. So now we can ruin anything we want.
right.
Yeah.
And then there's also they're like hanging on to certain little things,
they
like
keep trying that little fan service and bringing the stuff back in. And it's like, but you already ruined it. You've
Right.
already, destroyed the whole like Luke Skywalker line and just like
Yep.
everything,
Yep. Now going to be replaced by Rey.
Yeah.
right.
I'd like to
Raise
think that they're just making it for a new generation and it's not us. You know what I mean?
But
Or
it's-
not
gonna miss-
necessarily for us older fans.
Yeah.
the younger ones don't care.
Kind of, but
They
like
didn't make good stories to do it.
Right.
I still think like that's probably the intent behind it, Johnny. But like it's still, in order for it to work, it still needs all the stuff we talked about. It needs to have a soul. It needs to have a good hero's journey. Like Ray could work if they did it right, but they didn't,
Absolutely.
The artist that
So,
wants to
so
make it.
consider this. Here's my prediction. I haven't seen Mandalorian season 3, but the Mandalorian is going to now refer to Bo-Katan as the Mandalorian because, like Kathleen Kennedy said, the Force is female.
So you're not wrong. Put it that way.
Wrong. You're not wrong.
Being up to date, you're not wrong.
But I heard other things too, like Pedro Pascal wants out.
Right,
So
I've heard that as well.
They've recorded enough of his voice now where they could just do the Darth Vader thing and just have somebody in the outfit, I guess.
Hilarious.
Yeah, and that's
just
probably
tones his
why
voice.
they went this way with this season. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Star Wars is kind of overplayed now, but
Guys,
I don't know.
I saw
And I
episode
guess that-
7 twice, and I didn't see anything after that.
wait, what did you say?
I just saw when I saw episode 7, like I saw that one twice. That was years ago. I haven't seen anything Disney Star Wars since.
Oh,
I was just like, all right, no.
You
I'm
left
not
at
a
the
Star
right
Wars
time.
nuts, but just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
just,
you left
no.
at the right
I don't
time.
care, you know.
Yeah, you jumped out. I liked Force Awakens, but I had a few gripes with it. Everything after that, I was not in agreement with.
Yeah.
I think that for me, it was the last episode of Mando season 2 when Luke appeared. Like that, I was like, "Oh my god, it's actually Luke!"
Yeah.
You know, time period specific and everything. Like that's exactly what he should be doing right then. That's him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
And after that, I'm like, I think that was the best because like Kenobi, I didn't really enjoy.
Yeah.
Book of Boba
I
Fett
like-
got
I like
embarrassing
Boba
by the end.
Again, more crap coming out. Like, wait, it's pretty clear, Kenobi and Darth Vader meet in the first movie, and he's like, "Hey, I haven't seen you, since I was an apprentice," and now he's showing up and they're fighting and they're doing. You're like, what? This shouldn't even be a story.
I saw that clip, man. They went out of their way to explain the whole "what I told you was true" point of view thing. It's like, Kenobi just lied. Like, don't worry about that. It's like the most
What's up,
minor
Iron
thing.
Man? Good to see you.
Iron Mage, that's a great comment. But yeah,
I was just gonna say, there's a reason why they're turning to indie comics nowadays. More people are buying indie books, is because
indie comics, indie media, indie shows, indie movies, like everything that's made outside of the mainstream.
Yeah,
like
that's what I was about to say. It's like, hey, if you're tired of the same old, man, do I have a shameless plug for you?
which in a way, weird certain way, it feels like the
Beer
90s
belly.
again. The counter, the counter,
kinda like a grunge coming back.
a little bit. There's a little bit of the counter culture to the
because all the
mainstream.
mainstream stuff is like we've been talking about has been garbage. So like everyone
we just
kinda-
need a new music channel.
Yeah, people still love reading, good stories. It's just they have to go elsewhere now to get it,
Mhm.
Right,
So,
right.
It's kind of the way things are going. And I mean, I look at my pull list now. It's everything not from Marvel and DC. It's all Image. It's all, Dark Horse.
I only buy
Studios.
indie entertainment. Well, I didn't say all entertainment, but like my comics, yes, definitely. I haven't bought a regular comic, I don't know, probably a year or more. So it's just been indie.
Yeah.
And when it was like back issues, it was like the $1 reissues. So that like I could read some classic, issues.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I back a lot of projects too that look cool on crowdfunding, so I'd rather put my money there and read stuff that I'm going to find entertaining and
for sure.
Yeah, it's not going to get thrown around a writer's room and like recycled and then say, no, we can't do this because of this and we need more of this and put some diversity in there and then put this in there. No, we're going to make a story,
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like now that we have so many streaming services too, I think like unique projects are kind of sneaking out because all of these streaming services looking for content, but you'll find like little pockets of really good stuff, like whether it's a movie or a show or something,
But they're also not backing it. Like, for example, I really enjoyed Jupiter's Legacy as a show and a comic.
Yeah.
And they canceled it after the first season, so they're not backing the things that are taking that gamble. Even like when I heard they were making a new Tick series, the one they did in 2016, I was like,
Yes.
why?
Yeah.
But that turned out to be pretty good after all, and they didn't back it. They canceled it after 2 seasons. It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, there's certain things that probably don't make it either. I guess I'm talking more general, like stuff that might not be comic based.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know, but
I was just gonna say we should circle back around to these guys, these creators.
I know we've been on
we're giving too much time to Disney.
Yeah.
let's definitely check out some of these campaigns. A little further in detail.
And I feel like the discussion was good though, because it was a discussion.
It was good. It was a good discussion.
It was honest.
A little stitch and bitch is okay. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure. But I want to shine the spotlight on you guys.
Yeah, exactly. I felt it was constructive though. So. Yeah. But yeah, definitely. Let's start with Aaron's project. So let's take a look at your Indiegogo.
Awesome.
It's for Immortal Rising. So tell us a little bit about this story.
The story is consider the dark fantasy of Castlevania meets the epic fantasy of Final Fantasy.
Oh, okay.
And it's 2 stories in one. You see it, the same story from 2 perspectives. So you have a 34-page main story that is centered around a group of 5 strangers, and who are basically they're thrust together against their will, right? I say fated, and they have to learn to get along long enough to survive in a war that they didn't know was even going on. So it's pretty interesting. And then the second story is like that same war, only from the view of the gods. So you have the first level view, and then you have like how the gods see everything going on. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
It's like I kind of live that Clash of the Titan kind of angle.
Like an Iliad.
Exactly. That's exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you can see what they do and how they react as well. Yeah.
I like the artwork a lot too.
A good artist.
Yes, that is Jose Garcia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got a nice cover look to it. It's I like it's got that cell shaded kind of quality to it.
The 2 main characters, it reminds me of that French comic. They made a movie of it. Nice. Valerian.
Which one?
Valerian was the
Valerian.
movie.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
I got a little bit of that vibe there. That's pretty cool.
That's good to hear.
It reminds me a little bit of. Remember that anime like Lotus War? That was like a fantasy kind of
Record
thing?
of Lotus War.
Yeah. Got a little bit of that vibe to it.
Yeah, definitely. So these cards here, that's actually from the character design artist Steve Whitehead. There are 2 sets of 4 cards centered on the main characters.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and you can see their different styles. I call it painted, but it's digital painted. So
gotcha.
Just kind of to divide the 2 styles, and then the other is the comic style.
Yeah. Yep. And these are all the heroes here.
Yeah, that's from the main story, the 5 heroes. Kind of give a breakdown of their characters. You got the different, like for instance, Muhammad. He's the cleric. You've got the 2 princes. It's really cool because their personalities and their backgrounds are so different, and just seeing them interact and clash at times, as well as like come to understandings. It's pretty cool. And I mean, in the first book, it's more of like introducing them all to each other, let alone to the audience. And then this is going to be a 3-story arc. So like, over the 3 stories or the 3-issue arc, you get to know them very well. So
awesome. Anyways, cool. This looks cool as hell.
Right now is the early bird trading card that I'm not sure when I'm gonna stop that one. I was gonna stop it yesterday, but I kind of feel like I want to do up to 100. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'll even get 100. Maybe I'll just leave the early bird going.
I like the image.
Early bird turns into the late bird. Is the bird.
Yeah. It's just the damn bird. So what that image is,
Well, and then you give the person
one-
the bird if they don't get it.
Yeah.
well, so because like I can order them at like 50 or 100, so it's
Right,
like,
right.
well, how about I just give it to everybody?
Let it
So
ride.
that image is, just let it ride. That image for the card is Steve Whitehead art, and that's also one of the posters that you can order. So
It's a nice image. I mean that
Yeah, it's
looks
really
like
nice.
a module cover,
It
it was going to be the cover of the book originally.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of convoluted, origin story for the book itself, because I have a first version, and then I met Jose and had everything made, and then I had him redo the first version. Yeah, it's a little convoluted and long story, but I have Jose is consistent throughout the whole book, and also it's not just this one book. I have 2 books done. The second book is like 95% done. So backing this, it's not a one-off.
How many issues are you planning?
Well, I'm gonna try to do it by arcs, because
Okay.
I'm gonna do it by three book arcs, and I have it written out to like 20, but I assume let me just get the first 3 out and see how much of an audience I can build off of that, and who's actually interested, and all that other stuff. So
the artwork is great. I like the
composition.
balance between like cartoony and like realistic.
Yep. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
really
how he
nice.
composes a page is his storyboarding is next level.
And you got a good letterer too, kind of really.
That's him. He did it too.
Oh, he lettered it too. Yeah, very.
Yeah, he asked me,
compliment,
because he did the second one for me before this one, because
Okay.
like I said, it's a little convoluted backstory. Anyways, and he the second issue was him, practicing lettering. Like he's like, hey, can I do it? Because I want to get better at it. I was like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it really
I'm gonna tell you no.
compliments the artwork.
Yeah. And then so with this one, he's a little bit more practiced up on lettering, and yeah, he nails it in my opinion. So, and then look at this, like look at that airship back there.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, like the
Beautiful.
lettering
Yeah.
is almost like when you do a page, it should be part of the design, and it
Mhm.
looks perfect what he did. Yeah,
Yep.
this ship is great. Yeah, really good find here, Aaron.
And then look at
guy
this.
is
Look at the colors on that.
That's a beautiful image
Amazing.
right
Come
there.
on, dude. Yeah,
That's
there's
good.
nothing else like this in fantasy. So
The
just
monsters look cool as
yeah.
hell too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great job. This looks awesome.
Oh, cool.
little
So is this the
Damian
cover? Is this the new cover?
So that is the cover to the second story. That is
okay.
That's the story of the gods. So this story follows 2 gods who have been friends for so long. They're basically brothers. One is the god of battle, and the other is the god of magic. And in this short story, they're on a mission of revenge. They're out to get revenge on somebody who betrayed them in a very pivotal battle. And they're no, we've come to cash that in. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wow.
And then during
That's cool. Look at that.
Look at
That's
that.
a really
Yeah,
cool
very
design.
nice. Yeah.
yeah, it's like I gotta get that on a shirt or something. That's so
Yeah,
bad.
for real.
Oh, yeah, man.
So Chris Fisk, I don't know if you know Infinitale Comic, he did the graphic design on all this, as far as like the layout and all that stuff. And he cut that piece out and put it on my one of the ads that I use.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, he cut that out, and it's like kind of like in the background, but it like totally anchors the whole image. It's so
wow.
badass.
That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah, this looks great, man. This looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so is this campaign just for the first issue? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And you get, was it 34 color pages?
Well, so this is the first version. So this was the version that was supposed to mainly just be for like my friends,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was the version that, and you can see the side by side. So you have the original artist Kofarosa, who's a Indonesian dude. I liked his art and all that stuff. I was like, hey, can you do my story for me? And then later on, I met Jose, and I wanted to make it more. I wanted to make it like market acceptable. So You can see the difference if you scroll down more. You can
Oh, I
more.
see. So like this is a
Yeah.
side by side on what he did versus
Yep.
Jose. I
Yep.
see. Okay.
Now
Wow.
I had those printed out already. Like I had, because I'm one of the kinds of guys who's got to I got to jump in and figure out what I'm doing. So one of the things I did was I printed up 100 of them, which I have less than that now. So
Right.
you'll never see print again. And I'm offering 30 of them in this campaign. So
That's
I've sold-
cool. It's kind of like
sold
a
a few.
cool like bonus. Like
Yeah.
It's like if you want to contribute more than just like the regular kind of perks, and this will be a collectible. Like if you stay with the brand, the IP, that will be a collectible for
You're
sure.
making it really special for the backer, which is nice.
Yes. Yeah. And it helps me out a lot too.
yeah.
Cool.
Was it Kofa Rosa is not a bad artist, but man, Jose
Yeah.
is just like
Two different
crushing him when you
Well,
look
that
at
was the
these
thing.
comparisons.
Yeah,
hate
that
to
was
say
the
it,
thing.
but
I had Kofarosa had done the first one, and then I wanted to do more than just the main story. It was taking a long time because like he was hard to talk with because he was in Indonesia and their government kept shutting off the internet. And so it was kind of difficult to get a hold of him at times, and it wasn't the best experience. But I wanted to tell more. I was like, man, I should do like an ash can to or something, like a small story. And then I was looking around and I found Jose. He was doing commission work, and I reached out. I was like, hey, are you interested in doing a comic book? And he was like, actually, I want to get away from animation and do indie books. And
wow,
like perfect timing. And so he was like, he took it on. It was a 10-page story, and instead of a month or 2 months or whatever, 10 pages, it took him. He got back to me a week later. He's like, here you go. I'm like, oh my God, you're already finished, like everything? He's like, yeah, it's all done. Don't worry about it. I was like, that's amazing. So
oh, man.
Jose has got the fastest pen in the West or whatever. So anyways,
it's good when you find somebody that's like a real professional like that like churns stuff out. Like couldn't ask for a better
he's great to
partner.
collaborate with. Yeah, he's great to collaborate with for sure. We just kind of put our heads together, and mostly it's him with his storyboarding ability is stellar. So, but anyways, I had that 10-page story, and I was like, I can't sell both of them together, and and like people be okay with that. So I was like, that's when I said, hey, Jose, will you just redo issue 1 for me, so we can have continuity and consistency in the art. So. And he's like, yeah, he likes the story. He likes the brand and everything. He likes being a part of it and associated with it. So he was like, of course. And so here we are with this.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So what perk are you recommending to people? Do you have like a featured one, or is it?
Just a real quick through them. If you go down, you got the digital, the $5 digital. That's just the basic story. If you go down a little bit more, there's the basic Immortal is the physical, the PDF, and the early bird card now. Next to that is the bundle, so that's 2 physical copies. Maybe give one as a gift, or just like stash it and dog ear the other one. And then the final tier is the everything. So the reason I did it that way is because all the add-ons are a la carte. So you can get the basic, and then just like I have quite a few people who get like the basic one and then buy the card sets. So
gotcha.
They want all the cards, so that's totally cool. But if you want everything, and it's like $5 or $10 cheaper to just buy it all together in this package, then go for that. What's also in this I wanted to highlight for any artists out there is that Jose, I was like, hey, Jose, what do we already have that I can use to add value? And he was like, well, artists asked me for sketch versions of my stuff. So I was like, great. So I've got 34-page sketch storyboard of issue 1 from Jose. So you can like color it, or you can finish the lines on it, or
you could buy that on this campaign, like, or pages from it. Is that what you're saying?
Not just a page; it's the digital PDF.
Oh, the digital PDF. Oh, that's cool.
And you can print them out and do whatever you like. So,
oh wow,
and that's
really
only
cool.
$5. Yeah. So,
oh wow,
and that's
it's
how
not
you
a
see
bad
the
idea. Like,
2
for the
posters, 2 PDFs, the 2 sets of 4 cards. Yeah, and then with the everything, you also get 2 physical books. So,
Oh, wow.
Pretty nice set right there.
Not bad.
yeah, I agree. And then if you get the early bird, which I don't know how long I'm going to keep it up, I don't know yet. That'll give you a full set of 9 cards. So it's a full trading card sheet.
Oh wow, that's
But
awesome.
I want to ask before I give my time over to the gentlemen's. You play my trailer?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's usually
Right
the
on.
last thing we usually do before we move on. But yeah, no, I wanted to say this looks great. Let me
Awesome. Thank you.
let me cut and paste this into the chat so anybody that's into fantasy or just a good indie comic, check this one out.
For real.
Yep.
You know,
There's nothing else in fantasy like this at all. So, between the style and the story itself, it's got a lot of lore and exposition, all that stuff, but it doesn't like drag out. So I wanted to appeal to, those lore nerds and just the casual reader as well. So,
right, and then you kind of just make good characters and let them go.
The way I write is the character is the plot. So as the characters change and evolve, the plot moves forward. And that's how I tried to write this. Like, it really is 5 strangers, basically having to roommate together in a survival situation. Like, at its core, this is a man versus nature as a team. And our main character is kind of eventually becomes the leader of that team.
Gotcha. Like almost like a trial by fire, where you're thrown in with all these strangers and have to go for it. I like that. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, let's take a look at the trailer real quick.
Yeah, let's roll that footage.
Let me.
Beautiful.
You know what? Let me back out real quick. I don't know if I hit the audio option on this. Give me 1 sec. Let me. That way.
Sorry it took so much time.
Oh no, are you kidding?
Not at all.
Thank you for going through the campaign and sharing all that.
It's perfect.
It looks real awesome.
Oh, I think I did it again. Hang on. I'm talking and I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing here. All right, let's see. Entire screen, share audio. There we go. All right, perfect. All right,
Number 1, make it so. Yeah.
What's up, Corey Barton?
That's great, dude.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Music,
I love
everything. That was great.
That's a perfect trailer too. About a minute, and it's got kick-ass music and just images of the comics. That's the best kind. Like, I don't really
originally I had this great trailer, and the song was it was like a heavy metal 80s metal version of Bad Moon Rising by a great band named Leatherwolf from the 80s. And but copyright claims and all that stuff. So I had to change that. And then so I got another one, and it was supposed to be royalty free, but apparently royalty free doesn't mean copyright free. So somebody was like, "Hey, I got a claim on it," and all this stuff. Like, damn. So this is the third one. No copyright, no royalties. We should be cool. So any creators out there, look it up. YouTube, no copyright, no royalty music, and it was a shit ton of it.
Awesome. Amy said, "Did Aaron say beautiful bean footage?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Fried.
That's great. And then let's take a look at Joe and Steven's comic, Tales of Nihilism. That's how you say it, right?
Yep.
Sure.
That's awesome. So tell us a
And
little bit about this book.
And it's being presented on Global Comix, friends of ours.
Yeah, definitely.
So for
Yes,
those
We're
who
going to talk about that too, right?
Yes, yeah, we'll have to talk about that.
Heck yeah.
Tales of Nihilism, yeah, it was originally Russell's idea. We were working on it together, of course. It's an anthology series. We're going to do basically every bit of variety that we can.
Okay.
We got a 3-month plan. Basically, we do 1 month as a main story, another month is a shorter story that it doesn't need to be short, like 10 pages, just like it will end soon. And then we have comic strips for the other month. And we've done comic strips of characters exploding. We've done comic strips of parroting Greek mythology and things. And our first short story is another just comedic one of what happens if you don't give the Girl Scouts what they want. Watch what happens to your house. But for our main story,
is it like tales set in kind of reality, or is it more?
It's like it's all about like the dark humor and like the dark stories. And the main story of Russell, it's all about. Just tell him, buddy.
Yeah. So I mean, this really goes back to what we were having our discussion about before, and kind of being fed up with the normal what we're all being fed. And so this was the idea of this story was born out of me and my wife playing the Batman Arkham Asylum video game.
Okay.
And while I'm like playing this video game, I'm down in the sewers with Batman, and I look over, and it's supposed to be like a little opening into a police building where the server room is. But there's like a sewer, and there's like, I'm like, wait a minute, like a server room can't be here. It's all moist, and it's not the right temperature. And, I start, these things are like pulling me out of the world,
Yeah.
And then, you're starting to be like, where's OSHA in this world?
You're just thinking of like the weirdness of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, kind of like how does this kind of stuff fit into reality? How does it clash with reality? And then all of a sudden that was the inspiration for this. So we follow the main character, Philip Kirshner, and he is a normal person who lives in a world of superheroes.
Keith, you open our first issue to show the folks what Steven was drawing?
Yeah. This is the first. This one you can open, right? And just
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the first 3 are free.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
I was just gonna say I read a little bit of this one today, which I enjoyed. It looked like it was sort of a superheroes from a ground level kind of thing, from a normal human perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what would life be like if you really were an average guy in like Gotham City or Metropolis? It's like how unbelievably horrible it would be to accomplish anything.
Exactly.
That's funny. So is it funny too on top of that, or is it like
the main story, I guess, is a little more serious. We definitely have humorous elements in there, and a lot of this is taking those ideas that we kind of accept and turning them on their heads, and deconstructing the modern myth of the superhero. You think like these people are here to save this, everybody's putting all their hopes and dreams in Superman, or this person, only Batman can save Gotham. And we're like, no, like this would just terrorize society and make it horrible, and Batman would do more good for Gotham if he just used his actual billions of dollars to like do infrastructure and schools and
yeah, that's true, instead of bringing more crime to Gotham. It reminds me, the concept reminds me a little bit of Astro City. Were you guys inspired by that at all a little bit?
I noticed Astro City was the name of the city at the first page, right?
Yeah, actually, it's a coincidence. That was Atro City.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Atro City. My bad.
Yeah, Astro City. It's a lot of the stories are done from the everyman point of view. but it's also the same kind of idea where it's like people in this superhero universe, basically, and like sometimes they'll just do stories from. It depends. Sometimes they'll do this the point of view from the superheroes, but sometimes it's from the sidekick or it's from a person in the street. It's really good stuff, actually, though. It's really but it has a love of Silver Age stuff, so it's very comic, very old school comics, so
and I didn't want to just take like what the Boys or the Watchmen or things like that went, because to me the ideas of those comics are you're still lending like credence or power to the superheroes. You're still giving them authority, and in here we're trying to like deconstruct that and take it away from them and show like no, this is what it would really be like, and people are suffering, and like here's how it is.
Gotcha.
You see those buildings collapse, you see the bloody corpses in the street. It's like those are all different lives.
Yeah.
Imagine being one of those people, and that's what happens to you. And Phil, our protagonist, he's the one who notices this, and he's like, "What the fuck kind of place is this? I hate this."
Yeah, like you could die from a superhero battle, right?
Exactly.
Like, is that like kind of like, interesting.
Or the simple stuff. Just think like, how much would your car insurance be if every week it was getting destroyed, and you had to do another claim over?
And this is your artwork, Steven, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. I love the like pseudo realistic style that you got going. That's really cool.
Yeah, I was just going back, to my kind of like comic roots and doing that like vein there.
It reminds me of the Aha video, and I hope you don't take that as an insult.
No.
I think that's pretty cool, actually.
The concept also reminds me of God, I'm blanking on his name. Mike, was it Mike Spring that we had on a few weeks ago? Johnny, you had that book, Red, White, and Blue. It was basically like examining like a superhero, and how he wouldn't be able to hold down a job because he'd constantly be leaving it to save people. So he has to end up crowdfunding his super heroics, basically.
There's no way Peter Parker would keep his job.
There's not a lot of
like it just examines
families,
like the minutia of superhero kind of stuff,
Yeah, it's the stuff that you have to like suspend your disbelief to get into the world.
But if you leaned into that, you would probably have like an interesting story on its own too.
Yeah, for sure.
That's where we're going with this, is like really leaning into that and taking it serious, and putting that full like contrarianism into it, and just like
I like stuff like that though. So it's kind of like a wink, having fun with superheroes kind of thing,
Yeah,
it's great.
So
now, how many issues of this did you guys make?
We have, I think we have 5 to 6 releases right now. Some of the comic strips are taking up some space, but I know that the story following Phil, we've released our 3rd issue. We're working on number 4 right now.
Okay,
man.
We're going to go at least to 8 with Phil before we take a break and actually go to our next main project, which we're hammering out right now. We're going to have a short story series appearing in a few months after Russell's other original story called Prehistory. So if you want to see what a caveman goes through in the most serious way, believe me, he did some amazing artwork for that story. It's all artwork driven.
So is a lot of the storylines kind of like that, like examining like the minutia of like stories we know or familiar with kind of thing?
There's a lot of stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, I went with like Tales of Nihilism. I know people think like, oh, dark and broody with nihilism, but it's more of like a philosophical thought. So that was really like the driving factor behind this, is to turn these comic stories, turn these tales and things that we accept for granted into like philosophical studies,
Like it sounds like it feels like a little touch of satire running through it as well, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And part of that, like, you know, examining is, you know, you're supposed to poke fun at things. You're supposed to mock it. You're supposed to, you know, come out and be provocative about that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for sure.
Before we go in further with more of this, Aaron's got to jet out of here. So I just wanted to just, you know, thank you real quick, Aaron, for joining us tonight. I know we went a little longer than,
you know, we were going to talk about the Global Comix thing and everything, and then like I'll jabber on, dude. So we went through an hour and a half, and I'm like, oh geez, like I have to work at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, I hear you.
Oh, right on, man.
We probably won't go too much longer ourselves, but like maybe another 15 minutes or so.
Well,
but yeah, definitely wanted to thank you for coming on the show, and
yeah, for sure.
You know, we'll connect again down the road. You know,
yes, we will, and it's nice meeting everybody else. So
yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Likewise, thank you for coming on.
We'll share the link again before we close off tonight.
I appreciate that.
All right, thanks, Aaron.
See you.
All right, have a good night.
Yep.
All right. So yeah. So back to what were you guys saying now? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just reading those comments real quick. It said,
oh yeah, let me see what you got.
Superhero car insurance companies.
You know what?
Afford it.
You guys have read Damage Control from Marvel, right? That was like the whole kind of premise, like who cleans up these superhero battles, and then has to collect insurance money from like Dr. Doom and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's all funny stuff. You know, like really great. Really great ideas, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, I just love the wacky stuff like that, you know. So you said it's sort of more serious, though, right? You said it was
like I really want you to identify with the main character Phil. I want you to like follow through his deal, and a lot of the things that he goes through as well are still like regular pressures of everyday society. You know, keeping the water on, paying your bills, and going to work and all these things. And so we just add the extra pressure of like, okay, now you're late to work every single day because superheroes are battling on the bridge.
Right.
How long is the boss gonna like take that excuse?
Yeah, right. Or you're just gonna try to not lose your life on the way to work or whatever. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
that.
and just add that in there, and then slowly it starts to like untangle those stories and like, wait a minute, Superman's bullshit,
I love that though. I love when someone can take like, like you said, like where you're playing that video game and you see the server room thing, but you could take that and turn that into an idea for a comic. I think that's genius,
That is brilliant for sure.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
What drew you guys to sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there. I was gonna say, what drew you guys to Global Comix?
We were just looking for like what works for us. I know Russell, he tried out Amazon KDP and he said like, Joe, don't bother. It's a complete nightmare. The formatting, the constant no returns, we're like, all right, well, let's just find some place that's good, that will work. And like other places were like really specific. Like I found one site, I forgot what it's called, but like every single cover you saw was like an anime girl about to kiss a boy. It was like the whole website. It's like, we're not touching that. That's not our audience. Global Comix, this is a place of like we saw like everything on every cover, like this is a place
these guys are kind of coming in and filling the void of comicsology, I feel like, and kind of they started small and they're building the company up slowly, and I think that's the way to go especially with digital. Because
like they're going to be doing releasing an app soon too, where you can.
I watched a little bit. We're going to have them on the show soon to go over that. I've been
playing with the app actually.
Johnny's like one of the beta
awesome
testers.
Yeah, I'm beta testing right now on the app. I don't know if
they were like it's interesting.
Like stupid background, but
when we started this channel 3 years ago, they were like one of our first guests, and it was like it's interesting to see how far they've come in like 3 years. It's crazy,
And there's still only like 6 people.
Yeah, right. And yeah. Well, when they came on our show, it was just the CEO and Eric, which was their business development guy. And now there's like, oh, look at this. Johnny's got it right there. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm on the app right now. So if you notice, it's real handy. It's It moves smoothly.
Yeah.
Reads just like the website. So
That's gorgeous, man.
Yeah,
that's
it's just
awesome.
a good interface. Can't wait for them to launch it fully and for
Oh, heck
everybody to
yeah.
get a good look at it.
Let me share the link for your guys' stuff here. So you get the first issue for free, it looks like, right?
We do the first 3. Yeah.
First 3 issues are free. Wow.
Mhm.
Yep.
And
And
our
you can
comics
buy
just
them
need,
digitally right off the page.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
just
so you
need
can
a
buy the
Global
PDFs.
Comix app or a login, right? To read it. I think that's it.
Yep,
Mhm.
and that's a free login too. So
Yeah.
you just register for Global Comix for free, and then you can read the free issues right off the site, or on the upcoming app.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And like going forward, you'll have to have a subscription to get on, but I think that's pretty cheap too. And
It's
then,
like $2. Very nice.
yeah, and then you get to read like everything that's on there, not just us. So it's like,
Are you guys just digital, or do you guys print up books and go to sale or cons and things like that?
As of now, we're digital. We're looking to definitely get bigger, get a bit more of an audience, just get better at doing it.
Yeah, no, well, that's
like
you
you're gonna
guys are
see
still
prints in the future. Don't worry about
still
that.
wet behind the ears, So I get that.
6
you know?
months,
Yeah, you only been doing this for 6 months. So yeah, like I mean that's the better thing to do is build up some books and maybe even have a paperback too at that point, because you got a bunch of issues,
Mhm. Heck yeah. We're really just trying to build the audience and grow that, and it's one of those where it's like, okay, we think there's a void in entertainment the way it's been, like everybody's been talking about. Everything's just recycled, everything's done over and over again and commodified. And here it's like, no, we're taking these stories, we're mocking them, we're being provocative, we're showing, poking holes in these perfect worlds, and we think like, hey, there's a lot of people that are hungry for that.
And you'll still get a complete story out of us. Like it's not just
yeah.
We do the comedy when like it's just like you're going so far with it. The absurdity is where the jokes will come from. But like the main story, it's like the saddest scene that I love on our first issue is when Phil's girlfriend breaks up with him. It's like they've had a really troubled history that we just barely touch on, because like Phil was trying to be a good person, trying to be a normal guy, and it's been taken from him.
Yeah,
and we see where he goes from there.
The poor guy can't seem to catch a break, from what I read.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the whole idea, man.
Yeah.
And
you can like identify, even if like you haven't personally experienced that. I'm sure somebody in your family or friends who's always like that. You're like, God, this guy just can't catch a break. Like
the permanent black cloud over the head kind of thing.
Yeah. And then you put the stressors of like, oh yeah, the superheroes are fighting in the same city and all this crazy stuff's going on.
Right. You just add this other layer to it, which is funny. Johnny, did you have anything you wanted to add about Global Comix or anything?
So one of the things I wanted to mention is that, and I think Aaron was kind of alluding to it when we were kind of dancing around the subject earlier, is that, putting it on, putting his book on Global Comix. So if it's complete, I advise that he should do that. But one of the things I've been kind of promoting with Global Comix is that they have a button where, if you have a live Kickstarter campaign, you can mark your book to say that you have an active campaign going, and they will promote that. And then beyond that, if you have a digital tier, kind of what I did with Surrounded by Death, was that you can do your digital fulfillment through Global Comix. So they can either download the PDF directly from there or read it online digitally with the promo code provided from the Kickstarter campaign. So, why use a Dropbox? Why use a Google Drive when, you can use Global Comix? You could distribute your PDF as well as allow them to read it digitally right in that platform. In the meantime, they can also check out other books and other things when they're on that site.
Why use the corporate garbage, but you can have the technology by the real people?
Yeah,
right, exactly.
So you could just post a link to to get this right. So you can post a link to the book to download. Now, do they need to have a Global Comix account to download?
Yeah, they'd have to register with Global Comix, but in doing so, you provide them with a promo code, and they could download the PDF or read it online or both.
Yeah, and you can donate straight to the creators that you like as well. Like we have that. We've gotten a couple
like
donations.
A Substack kind of feature. Yeah,
very great fan so far.
Mm-hmm.
Harry says it kind of reminds me of Shaun of the Dead. Zombies are besides the everyday life problems. Yeah.
Never thought of that comparison. That's so on point.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah,
like all the zombies are, eating everybody, and the biggest question and the biggest problem is like, do dogs look up?
Yeah, right. That's great. That's awesome. Yeah. So I mean, we've been going almost an hour and 40, a little over an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ready to wrap this up. Did you guys have anything else that you wanted to like? Do you have social media you want to promote or anything besides the book? I mean, I'll share the link again here too.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can go on there. We put updates on there. We give previews of art, and like when the strips are released, we release them out on the Instagram and Facebook. And the strips are free because they're all just quick and just kind of funnies and stuff.
Nice.
So it's like, hey, just try to garner that up. Come check us out. Come see what we're doing. And we really just want people to come in, view the product, and if you like it, like, hey, support it, because we got a lot more coming down.
And you can tell, folks, we're friendly guys. We like to talk. Like, give us some comments. What do you think? What do you like?
You guys are just starting out too, so like,
for sure.
A year from now, you guys will probably have at least triple the amount of books, and
we'll see our empire grow.
Yes. What part of the where are you guys from? Where are you guys located?
God, I'm from all over.
Where are you currently living, I should say?
Yeah. Currently, I'm in Staten Island.
Staten Island. Okay, so you guys are kind of close.
Yeah, cool. Like I was born in Dallas, so it's like my dad always told me, he's like, son, you don't have to be a Cowboys fan, you get to be one.
How about you, Joe? Are you in New York too?
No, sir. I'm actually in Central Indy.
Oh wow! Okay.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow! Awesome. And you guys keep in touch over, I guess, Zoom and stuff like that when you do books and.
Dude, don't bother with Zoom. Go to Discord. They don't
Discord. There you go.
Your meetings.
Yeah.
Oh really? Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's like the 30-minute timeline.
Yeah.
You also use StreamYard, the thing that we're using too. You can just talk in the green room all night if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, guys. So, you already shared out your social media stuff, right? Joe, Steve, did you guys anything else you wanted to shout out? Or
I mean, it's all Tales of Nihilism. He's got his own Twitter. My Twitter is called Chrono Crawlers, if you're interested. I just got my own personal projects here and there. I can write for more than just Stevens,
That's
awesome,
true.
Yeah.
Any other artists out there who want to hit me up, or if you need a writer, I'm available.
Same deal. Open for commissions always.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, that actually gives me an opportunity to plug a gig, Global Indie Group. That's another platform that's just launching where you go on that site, you subscribe. I believe it's $5 a month, but it's a database of indie creators and artists, podcasts, everything. Looking for work and looking to network. So highly recommend checking that out.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Awesome. Johnny, anything you want to shout out before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much to Joe, to Steven, to Aaron. Thank you for coming onto the show, sharing your projects with us. Really looking forward to reading more of Tales of Nihilism, and looking forward to backing Aaron's campaign as well. And I also want to say, just to come see us this weekend at the Heinz Convention Center in Boston for Wicked Comic-Con.
Yeah, hell yeah. And we'll both be dead by Sunday.
Yes, I feel dead already.
Yeah, definitely. Dead. Yeah, right.
It's been a busy week already.
Yeah.
It's going to be Tales from Nihilism at Wicked Comic-Con come Sunday night with me and Johnny.
Great.
We'll have Tales of Nihilism. I'd love to thank you guys both for coming on as well.
Yes,
and
for sure.
Reaching
Please
out,
come back.
Yeah, definitely.
Heck yeah.
And I look forward to seeing more from you guys down the road, you know. So
Oh,
hopefully we'll see you at a convention one of these days, you know.
That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Maybe you guys can fly in, go to one together or something, you know. And
Well,
sell together.
Indie is close. What, C2E2 is probably your backyard show, right, Joe?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah.
And Steve is like anything in New York or even up in
well,
our
I mean,
neck
yeah,
of the woods.
That's my big one is to focus on is the Brooklyn Comic Con.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, you want to start small too, when especially the level you guys are at. You want to do like 1-dayers and then work up to doing the big shows. You know,
it's like wow,
you are good.
This is really hard.
Yeah, right. Well, if you ever need any, I put a bunch of videos. There's a playlist on our YouTube channel, just about selling at Comic Cons. I share my 20 plus years of experience on what to do, how to set up tables, things like that. So new creators like yourselves might get a lot of good ideas from those videos. So that's on the channel as well.
Yeah, it's one thing to make it; it's another thing to sell it. You know.
Oh, totally. You gotta making the product is only 1/4 of the battle. You know?
You'll be reborn.
Like you got me. Like I'm a big old former Army infantryman. Been to Iraq and all that. But when it comes to selling
thank you for
something,
your service.
I'm like, oh, you're good, dude. But when it comes to pitching stuff, I'm like, please look.
Well, that's why. Yeah, exactly. I think you do all right. You're pretty nice. You got a nice demeanor about you.
Yeah.
I think you'd be fine. But all right, yeah, everyone, we're gonna wrap this episode up. Thank you for joining us as always, and then. Coming in 2 weeks, I think we're moving to our permanent night, which is Monday nights at 8:30, and we'll update you guys on the schedule as it goes forward, because we'll probably do some back-to-back episodes to avoid holidays like Memorial Day, and we don't want to be streaming on like a day like that kind of thing, So we'll definitely update you as the weeks go on, and that's pretty much it. Check out Tales of Nihilism on Global Comix. Get a Global Comix account. It's going to be the home for all digital comics, I think, going forward. And then also check out Aaron's campaign, Immortal Rising. Descriptions, the links for both of these creators, the Tales of Nihilism and Immortal Rising, is in the description of our video, and that'll be on the channel tomorrow. So check it all out. All right, gents, if anyone has any last words, otherwise I'm ready to end this one.
Be kind to each other.
All right. Yeah, and I always say, read some comics. All right, everybody. Have a good one, and we will talk to you later.
Later.
Good night.